You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife stamping her cloven hoof. Harry memorably said, "What Harry's wife wants, Harry's wife gets." And on repeated occasions, it's been very easy to envisage her stamping one of her cloven hooves in order to get what she wants. Having a paddywhack, a tantrum, a benny on, because somebody is not given her what she wants, which offends her sense of control, and thus there's the ignition of fury. Some of you may be familiar with the books Just William, which was also a television series, and one of the recurring characters was Violet Elizabeth Bott, who was the lisping spoiled daughter of the local nouveau riche millionaire. And William reluctantly endures her company to prevent her carrying out her threat of "I'll fqueam and fqueam till I'm thick." One can envisage Harry's wife behaving in a similar way, that she threatens that she will cause a problem for individuals if they don't do what she wants, and that she stamps her cloven hoof until she gets the attention that she believes is rightfully hers, that she receives all of those things that she believes that she ought to have, whether it's a tiara, whether it's prominence in the line, whether it's money. Her narcissism drives her to elbow her way to the front of the queue each and every time by making the Invictus Games the Harry's wife's games, by steering Harry around utilising the grip of doom, by elbowing her way in front of him, leaving him looking like a lost ginger clown, as we've seen in parts passim of video analyses. And just recently, we have an excellent example of this, which has been brought to my attention by my PR contact. Back in March, you may recall that Penguin, on March the 11th, announced Jose Andres' new cookbook on their website. Harry's wife was just briefly mentioned as one of the people who provided a recipe, and she was mentioned in the 3rd paragraph after Michelle Obama. Oh, what horrors that is! Harry's wife was not first. Harry's wife was not prominent. She was not front and centre. The press release that they provided meant that she was overshadowed. No narcissist likes to be overshadowed. And therefore, in order to nullify that threat to control as a consequence of the announcement by Penguin Random House, just 3 days later, Harry's wife publishes the article, "Harry's wife, the Duchess of Sussex contributes recipe to the World Central Kitchen Cookbook, Feeding Humanity, Feeding Hope." This appears on Archwell, and basically she places it on Archwell's website, putting herself front and centre, putting herself in a prominent position and heralding it, where of course it's all about her. Penguin Random House didn't do their job properly. No matter, her narcissism directs her to tell the relevant people at Archwell, you need to put out a press release about me. You need to put out a puff piece talking about me contributing to this recipe book. That shows, of course, how her need for control is so absolute that the fact that she appeared in the 3rd paragraph wasn't good enough, and that in effect wounded her. But more bad news for Harry's wife, because although this is put out on March the 14th, the media failed to pick up this piece of breaking news from the Archwell website, failed to provide her with any fuel. Therefore, this wounded her. Not only was she in the 3rd paragraph after Michelle Obama in the original Penguin Random House announcement, but her own announcement doesn't get any attention. Oh dear indeed. It's a dark day for Harry's wife. And thus, she has to stamp her cloven hoof, saying, "Look at me, look at me, look at me." And so what she then does In order to remedy this, and after all, it's just about a fucking recipe being provided to a cookbook. But remember, for Harry's wife, this could be her missing out on the most important opportunity of her life, because her narcissism deems that she cannot be ignored. And so instead, what it does is it causes her on the March the 15th to then send out a press release. Yes, she has issued a press release herself about contributing a recipe to a cookbook. And she did this because she didn't get enough attention from Penguin Random House. She didn't get enough attention when Archwell did it, so she has to try again, stamping that cloven hoof until somebody notices her. Now, how do we know that she issued this press release? Well, the fact is that what is commonly the case, that when a press release is given to small UK publications, they tend to copy and paste the press release without providing any changes, even in the headline on the same date. And it's done using what's called a local media list that includes local newspapers in different towns and communities, as opposed to a general media list that includes only major publications. Small newspapers are usually tighter on staff, and therefore, to save time and resources, they basically just print what is sent to them without any editing. Sometimes they don't even notice, for instance, a minor typo or grammatical mistake. And therefore, what happens is they send this out, and the small newspapers just print it verbatim. Larger publications build up on the press release, changing the headline, collecting more information from other sources and adding background information. But with Harry's wife, on her third attempt at stamping the cloven hoof, she ensures, because she's so petty, that a press release is sent out. And who's it picked up by? The Hackney Gazette, Indy 100, The Independent, The Evening Standard, Yahoo News, Herald Scotland, Time Series, The Watford Observer, The Argus, Ealing Times, Gazette and Herald, News and Star, Impartial Reporter, Braintree and Witham Times, The Wrexham Leader, Reading Chronicle, Barking and Dagenham Post, Hales Owen News, Hillingdon Times, Bury Times, Bicester Advertiser, Sussex Royal, Times and Star, Somerset County Gazette, Echo News, Stroud News and Journal, This is Local London, Darlington and Stockton Times, Bracknell News, The Surrey Comment, Norfolk News, Bournemouth Daily Echo, Belfast Telegraph, Herald Series, Peebleshire News, Sidmouth Herald, Slough Observer, Warrington Guardian, Dudley News, North Somerset Times, Stourbridge News, Rill Journal, Malden and Burnham Standard, News Shopper, Saffron Walden Reporter, Cotswold Journal, Bridgewater Mercury, the Western Mercury, Dunmow Broadcast, and on, the Renfrewshire's Gazette, the Wirral Globe, Daily Echo, North Wales Pioneer, Evesham Journal. And there are a lot more besides. You get the idea. The fact is that what has happened is that she, because she didn't get her way, because nobody gave her the attention, ensured that a shitty press release about a recipe in a cookbook was sent out en masse and thus was reported across all of these minor publications. The names that I've read out to you, people in the United Kingdom will recognise that many of these are just small local papers. The rest of you will have to take my word for it. But it is demonstrative that what she's done here has stamped her cloven hoof and shows the desperation by which she operates, sending it out en masse to just minor publications until she gets a response. This is demonstrative of the way that her narcissism works. And, should you wish, you can now watch a scroll down of all of those names that I've mentioned and more besides, and you can see that each and every time, Duchess of Sussex to contribute recipe to charity cookbook, Duchess of Sussex to contribute recipe to charity cookbook. She's so petty and pathetic. She couldn't stand to be behind Michelle Obama. She couldn't stand the fact that nobody picked up from Archwell, and thus she has to have a cloven hoof stamping session by sending it out to a local media list. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.